Hello Scorpio, thank you for joining me. This is your April 2017 astrology forecast, and this is for Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun and Scorpio moon. So I'm doing a little bit of a general reading just to begin with, and then I'll be going into some dates after that because we've got 4 planets going retrograde and I just wanted to talk about them to begin with. So last month I felt like a lot of the focus was on your health and your day-to-day experiences and organisation and anything work as well, you know, anything you do that's of service. So the energy is still here, but it's starting to shift now more to things like relationships and you're thinking, and money is definitely coming into this as well. You've got some really powerful days here in April. So we've got Venus that's still retrograde, and this has been causing you to reevaluate, you know, whatever service you give, whatever job it is you do, especially if you work in the service industry, if you work in hospitals or I feel like mental institutions or social work or restaurants even, anything that you do that's kind of service. So you've been reevaluating that and possibly reevaluating health habits, how you can better look after yourself, what you do in your day-to-day routine. Has that been working for you? So there's been a lot of that going on, and that's still going on for the first 3 days, and then Venus goes into your 5th house of Pisces, where you probably start enjoying your creativity quite a lot and feeling a lot like a big kid and enjoying love, and maybe even reflecting on love or reflecting on creativity and maybe things that you stopped doing, you know, maybe there's something you used to love doing like painting or singing. And you might suddenly think, oh, you know, I miss doing that. I really fancy revisiting that. There is a strong chance as well that somebody who you once had a romance with could come back, because this is Venus retrograde and it's in your 5th house of love as well. So, you know, that's very possible. But although you're reviewing some things, you should also be feeling quite kind of buoyant, and you might be feeling, like I said, quite creative. So that's Venus, and then we've got Mercury going retrograde this month, and Mercury's in your 7th house, and then it goes back into Aries. So for you, this has been, you know, you've been thinking about relationships and one-on-ones and how you communicate in relationship, how relationships are working out for you, you know, if you don't have a partner, maybe thinking about what kind of partner you do want, and maybe you've been wondering, like, what work would I have to do on myself to attract that partner? So you've been thinking about this, and then Mercury is going to move into Aries as well. So that's going to be then bringing some more thought to that 6th house of yours, to service, to health. You're going to be revisiting that and, you know, your day-to-day routine. So that's what Mercury's doing. Obviously the usual thing, don't sign any contracts if you can avoid it. Try not to commit to anything. You know, take this time to research, to rethink, to reevaluate. And I think, you know, especially while Mercury is in your 7th house, which is up until, where is it? Moves into, sorry, too many notes. It moves into Aries on the 20th, I believe. I can't find it, but I'm sure it goes, yeah, I'm sure it does. Yes, it does. It moves into Aries on the 20th. So, it moves into Aries on the 20th. So up until then, just be careful about how you speak and how you communicate in your one-on-one relationships, because when Mercury's retrograde, there you go. Sometimes our speech can slip up, you know, sometimes we can blurt things out without really thinking. So if you're in a relationship, just be aware of that. And if you're not in a relationship, be aware of what your mental speech is, you know, what your inner voice is with yourself. You know, if you want to attract somebody, are you going to attract somebody if inside you're always telling yourself you don't look good enough, or you're not good enough on some level? Be aware of, like, the mental chit-chat that goes on inside of you, because that tells us a lot about where we're actually, sorry, how we feel about ourselves and where our frequency is. You know, because a lot of people will say, I want to attract love, you know, I'm ready for it and all this, but on the inside, they're really harsh on themselves, they're really critical, they talk down to themselves. And the thing is, if you're not being loving towards yourself, how are you going to allows, you're not giving room for somebody who's going to be loving towards you to show up, because we can only attract what we are. So that's something to be aware of for all you single Scorpios out there. Right, where are we now? So that's Mercury, we've done Venus. Right, we've got Saturn, which is going retrograde. The 5th of April, it's going to be stationary for quite some time actually. But Saturn is a karmic planet, you know, and it asks us to get real about things. It asks us to look at the reality, and sometimes we have to we have prices to pay for not having been more grounded. So for you, Saturn's in your 2nd house in Sagittarius. So we're looking at your attitude towards your finances, and actually with Venus going retrograde as well, you know, that's about finances, that's about money too. But back to Saturn. So you're looking at your attitude towards money, and there's some restructuring to be done here. Have you been wise with your finances? And because Saturn's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about our long-term goals, it's about having the larger vision of our lives. It's also about truth. I feel like Saturn here is saying, right, what you're doing financially, does that actually support your long-term goals? Are you saving enough to get that house that you want? Are you saving enough to go travelling if that's what you want to do? And if not, it's, you know, where are you squandering your money possibly? So it's a case of not just your money, it's your resources as well. It's your time, it's your energy, you know? It's your attention. It's not just money, sorry. So it's a case of like, with everything you're doing, is it an investment, or are you just spending? Everything should really be an investment, even our thoughts. You know, I was talking about the self-chat. Even our thoughts should be an investment. Our thoughts about ourselves should be a wise investment. We should be building ourselves up, because the more we build ourselves up, the more we get out of ourselves, the more we get out of life, and the more others get out of us. So your thoughts, your time, are you investing that wisely? Are you using that wisely? Is it supportive? Is it supporting where you want to go in life? Your resources, you know? So that's what it's asking you to look at there. Now your ruling planet, your modern ruling planet, Pluto, is going to be going retrograde on the 20th of April. And like I said, you're going to have some really powerful days in April. And so with Pluto in your 3rd house, and it's in Capricorn, you know, with Pluto here, your words have power. I feel like people are taking you more seriously. The way you communicate is very powerful, so be aware of that. You've got some magic in your words, you know. They talk about what you think about, you bring about, and what you kind of, you know, manifesting through affirmations. If you're interested in that, then now is a good time to be working with that kind of energy. And you've got an opportunity as well. Sorry, you've got an opportunity as well to transform any relationships with siblings or neighbours that may have, you know, not been very stable, or not been living up to your expectations. You've got an opportunity to transform that. And there's some deep truths, I think, that you're going to be privy to. In regard to yourself, maybe in regard to others, maybe in regard to your siblings, you know, and your relationship with them and why they are the way they are. But this is, Pluto's having a transformative effect on your communication, on your thoughts, on the way you think. And I think this is so interesting, you know, because I didn't really think about this when I mentioned that Mercury going retrograde and the self-talk thing. But this fits in with Pluto in your 3rd house. It's having a powerful effect on how you think, and you might be able to change some mental programs if you want. So if you want more success, you know, they say you have to start feeling more successful. You have to start thinking more successfully. And so if you want to do anything like that, restructuring your mind, you know, the power of your mind, this can really come into play this month. So that's really, really cool. Okay, and I'll just finish off with this. I've been saying to everybody, April is a kind of spring cleaning, which is, you know, very fitting for us who live in the Northern Hemisphere. April is a kind of spring cleaning this year, and it's a powerful one too. Although we've got these planets going retrograde, you know, and I know, you know, with Mercury retrograde, take care when planning things, try not to commit to things if you can. But at the same time, with this retrograde energy, there's movement. There is movement. And it's powerful movement because it's like we're getting to the truth of what we truly want. We're looking at areas of our life, because everyone's got a few areas of their life, don't they, which are good or maybe really great and then, you know, so-so. But we're looking at areas of our life where we've been unsatisfied on some level, or where we've been encountering problems and blockages. And this April is causing us to finally clear up those houses, clear up those areas of our lives, so that we can have the kind of life that we truly want to have. It's a lot of self-actualization and standing in your truth and your power and knowing what you want and how to get it, and a lot of self-honesty. So I think that's really cool. So going on to the dates, we've got on the 3rd of April, we've got Venus entering Pisces. So she's going retrograde. So she's gone from your 6th house, where I told you you were looking at reevaluating your day-to-day habits. Are they supporting you? Do you give yourself time in the mornings? Do you give yourself time to chill out on a daily basis and just to make life a little bit more enjoyable? But now it's going into the 5th house. So, very good chance that a past flirtation could come back into your life. That could happen. Creativity, you might be revisiting some ideas of like, some things, some hobbies that you left behind, that kind of thing. Good time for I would say, dabbling in anything that you used to enjoy and going back to it, and experimenting with it. And I often think as well with the 5th house, it's about love, it's about creativity, it's about feeling like a big kid at heart. It's about children as well. So obviously if you've got children, you might be going over some things to do with your children, and maybe really thinking about, well, how are they and how are they getting on, and is there more we could do together? You might be thinking about stuff like that. But what I was going to say is I also think about the 5th house. That's also how we love ourselves, so how much love do you allow yourself to feel? How do you allow yourself to be that big kid every now and then? This is a time to think about those kinds of things and maybe bring some more fun into your life if it's been lacking it. Where are we now? The 5th. So on the 5th is when Saturn goes retrograde in Sagittarius, causing you to review your finances, to have a look at what is going on financially. Put some structures in place. Where have you been being idealistic? Maybe you've been frivolous with money. Maybe that's part of what that Venus retrograde is making you look at. Because like I said, it's also things we value, so it can be finances. So have you not been cautious enough? Or have you not been allowing yourself enough fun? Saturn's going to ask you to look at how your resources and the way you use them, how that supports your big picture. On the 6th, we've got quite a powerful day for you because we've got Mars, which is your ancient ruling planet, and that's in Taurus, and it's making a trining aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. So this is quite a sexy day, I feel, and it's a very powerful day. Mars and Pluto, both ruling planets for you. So this is power, and this is that kind of carnal energy. It can be desire, it can be passion, really big passion, and sexiness and desire. So you might be feeling particularly sexy on this day. And Taurus rules your 7th house, so if you're in a relationship, it might be quite a steamy day for you, to be honest. So enjoy that. If you're not in a relationship, you'll probably still be feeling quite powerful. At the same time, quite focused and quite energetic, and almost as though you can endure anything. So if you've been having relationship troubles, this might help you find that inner endurance to think, like, we can get through this. And Mars is in Taurus there, so Taurus is it's a very sensual sign, so this really is a sexy, powerful day for you. So enjoy that. On the 8th, Mercury turns retrograde, yes. So Mercury turns retrograde on the 8th, in that 7th house. You're reviewing things to do with your relationships, your one-on-ones, how you communicate. I spoke about this at the beginning, how you communicate, what kind of partner you might want, how you communicate with self, even your business partnerships, how you communicate, how well has this been serving you, rethinking things to do with partnerships. On the 9th, we have the Sun. That's in your 6th house. and that is squaring that ancient, your modern ruler, sorry. Sun is squaring Pluto, and that's and Pluto's in Capricorn there. So now here I'm feeling like perhaps there's a situation with a sibling, and you're kind of butting heads a little bit. This could be what leads to you having that transformation with them in the long run, but it could be a bit of a butting heads with siblings, that kind of a thing. Or it could be as you're trying to go about your day to day, it could just be one of those days where it feels like obstacles are just put in your way, and you could be feeling frustrated and blocked, you know, as you're trying to go about doing the things you'd normally do and rushing around. It just feels like one thing after another is just stopping you and blocking you for some reason. Maybe it's saying you shouldn't, maybe it's trying to tell you you're not supposed to be running around so much, you're supposed to be taking this day off. Who knows? But the other way it could pan out is it could be to do with your siblings, a situation like that. And the other thing I'm thinking is, you know, if you are somebody who has quite a lot of negative self-talk, this could be just one of those days where you need to be aware of the way you speak to yourself internally. You know, you might be feeling a little bit, you might not be feeling your usual powerful self. Then on the 11th, we've got a full moon in Libra, and that's in your 12th house. This is opposing Sun in the 6th house, and this full moon is conjunct Jupiter. So it's quite a big full moon. You know, Jupiter expands what it's near, so it's quite a big full moon. So I feel like there's something here in terms of your internal world. Something here is being expanded. Maybe you're going to want to look into your spirituality more. Maybe you're going to just really value, in fact, I would if I were you, take some quiet time. Take yourself off somewhere, you know, and have some quiet time. You'll really value that, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. You might get some philosophical kind of ideas or insights into your emotional nature and things you've been experiencing lately, if that makes any sense. There could be quite a lot of psychic power around this moon. Yeah, so that's quite, and you know, and as well, you know, it might be one of those ones where you want to really have a nice time with your nearest and dearest, you know, the people who know you really, really well, and you're feeling generous and warm towards them. But you won't really feel much like being out there in the world at that full moon. On the 15th, we've got Venus turning direct. Yay! So Venus is turning direct in that 5th house of Pisces. So, you know, now you're really starting to feel exuberant. You're starting to feel the love. You're starting to, you know, just generally feeling really, really good. You've been reviewing things. You think, you know, you feel better. You feel like you know where you're at with stuff, and it's you know, you're moving forward, and hopefully you're moving forward with a bit more compassion for self, you know, because this has been a healing time, that Venus retrograde period. It's been very close to Chiron. So hopefully you're moving forward with a bit more compassion for self and feelings of emotional, more kind of wholeness. On the 17th, we have two aspects. Yeah, we've got Venus, which is in that 5th house still. Venus in that 5th house, and that's sextiling Mars in your 7th house. So once again, this could be a very great day for relationships. If you're in a relationship, you could be feeling in such harmony with your partner, and the attraction could really be on, you know? And you're just supporting each other, you get each other, you're going to have fun together on this day, I reckon. It's going to be a really lovely, harmonious day. And if you're single, you might be feeling really attractive, and your mind might be on love and partnerships. And so if you want to get out there and do something, you know, and I don't know, maybe if you're dating, you know, make sure that you schedule a date for that particular day. That's the 17th. The other aspect we've got on the 17th is the Sun in Aries in your 6th house, and that's trining Saturn in your 2nd house. So this makes you, so on one hand you've got this really fun energy with Venus and Mars, which is fun, and it's cooperation, it's harmony, it's attraction, At the same time, with Saturn the Sun trining Saturn, you're feeling quite driven and determined. And I mean, if there's anything you need to organise in terms of your finances and your work, this is the day to do it. So you choose, Scorpio. Do you want, whether it's, is it love that you want to kind of focus on this day, or is it organisation? Because both days are great for it. And even if you do the organisation and restructuring and that kind of thing, you'll enjoy it. Your energy will be behind it, So that's a really nice day for you. Right, and now on to the 19th. And then we've got the Sun entering Taurus. That's going into your 7th house of relationships. So you can see where this is where the focus is starting to shift to now, to relationships, to your one-on-ones, and this is the area of your life that's going to be highlighted now for the next 30 days, and you're going to be putting energy into your relationships, and it's nice because Venus is going direct now, so you're going to be putting energy into your relationships and feeling a bit more confident about it, like you know where you stand emotionally. What was that? That was the 19th. So on the 20th, Pluto, that goes retrograde in Capricorn in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, neighbours, short distance travel. So as I discussed, there's transformation. There's some deep transformation to be had in terms of your relationship with your siblings, or in terms of your communication and how you think and your attitudes, your mental attitudes. So power of the mind, you might not realise that because going back to Saturn in the 2nd house, so we're talking finances and resources, right? Say you're trying to increase your wealth, you might not realise that you don't speak affirmative words. You might have a realisation that, oh my gosh, I'm always complaining, I'm always kind of saying I don't have enough. So this is like a chance to transform things like mental patterns and, like I said, relationships with siblings, and the way you communicate. Your words do have a lot of power this month. On the 21st, Mars goes into your 8th house, which is the house that you naturally rule. Scorpio rules the 8th house. And for you, it's in Gemini. And Mars here can have quite a therapeutic effect if there's anything we've been holding on to. At first it can seem a little bit daunting, but there might be things that get washed out during this period. And just be careful of what you say, because Mercury is retrograde and Mars is going in here into the 8th house. Any kind of grudges or anybody who might have wronged you in any way, they could end up getting it in the neck. So just be aware of that, Scorpio. But you're comfortable with the 8th house. And Mars is your ancient ruling planet. So if there's anything you want to look at on a deeper level, then this is the time to do it. You might be feeling the urge to do that. Any interest in the occult or in astrology or anything psychic, that can be heightened now. Just be aware of maybe any kind of power battles or anything like that, ego battles with Mars in the 8th, because sometimes it can bring that up. But if you want to go deep and if you want to uncover a few things, then this is a very good time to be doing it. So then on the 26th, we've got the new moon in Taurus, and the new moon is in that 7th house of yours, and so where you've been thinking about relationships and your communication and things like this. Now you've got a fresh start here, so regardless of whether you're with somebody or not, you're feeling a bit more positive. And what with Venus going direct, you're feeling a bit more positive, you're feeling more like you know what you want. And so there's a feeling of freshness here that can be taken advantage of. On the 28th, we've got Venus re-entering Aries, so going into that 6th house of the services you give, and day-to-day routine, health habits, pets even. And these can be sources of enjoyment for you. You might get a lot of emotional, comfort from your day-to-day routine, from working out, making sure you're working out every morning if that's what you're into, from the service that you give, from your job, from your work, comfort from pets, really enjoying your pets and your animals, that kind of thing. So Yeah, all in all though, it's a very powerful month for you, Scorpio. Really powerful, I feel, and really cool. I'm feeling Scorpios this month, definitely. You've got so much power in your words and what you say, and you can really change. You can really change some anything that's been holding you back in terms of your thoughts and that kind of thing. It's really transformative energy, and I think you're going to work really well with it. So thank you so much for listening, Scorpio. If you are interested in an extension of this reading, I'm doing tarot readings on Vimeo videos. You can just click the link below, and they're £2 for each sign. I'm doing every single sign. Yeah, if you fancy it, then go for it. If not, no worries. But it's, yeah, lovely to do this reading for you, and I really hope that this is the empowering and transformative month that I think it will be. Okay, take care.